Yo, 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 what's up, everybody? This is your boy Salim, aka Mr. Cherry Pie. How you doing? Sorry I haven't been able to update you guys with a new video. I've been really busy editing my first novel, Material Boys, and it's quite a time-consuming task. It's very time-consuming. Anybody who's a writer or written a book, you already know what it's like to edit and add, subtract, and rewrite things so you get the perfect product. So it's been taking up most of my time, but it's a labor of love. Shout out to Nikki Turner, New York Times bestselling author, and one of my mentors on this project. But I did make time to do a video today because I've gotten a lot of emails and calls and just talked to friends and family about the new movie Sparkle that just came out August 17th, starring Whitney Houston, Jordan Sparks, Mike Epps, Tika Sumter, CeeLo Green, and a cast of others. Which is a remake based off of the 1976 cult classic African-American one of our favorite movies, like What's Love Got to Do With It or Five Heartbeats. It was a film released in 1976 starring Lynette McKee, Irene, Cara, and Michael Phillip Thomas. And of course you have the legendary soundtrack that goes with the movie, with all the timeless songs, Giving Him Something He Could Feel, Hooked on Your Love, Jump, and Look Into Your Heart. So, all of that music, is a driving force with the allure of Sparkle. So I've been a fan. I was introduced to the original Sparkle through my aunts, my mom, and older family members when I was coming up in the 90s. And I love it. I have it on DVD. I have the soundtrack. I've always been a fan. So hearing that they were going to re-release the new Sparkle, I was excited. And of course, Whitney Houston, this is her last performance. So that drove a lot of fans also because we knew that this was going to be her swan song, kind of like Michael Jackson's This Was It. This was her last project, before her death. So we got a chance to see her one final time. I went to see it with a good friend of mine named Carla, Car. Hey, Car. And we went to the 10:30 show. And I was excited. I had goosebumps all over because it'd been so much speculation. We had been seeing the trailers for this movie, and I just couldn't wait to see it because I'm such a big fan of the original. The storyline is a little bit different than the original, so anybody that's going to see Sparkle, if you're going to it and you're expecting to see play-by-play of what you saw in the 1976 film, which a lot of people did, you're going to be kind of disappointed. They moved the story from 1950s Harlem to 1960s Detroit, 1968, around the time of the Black Panther movement. Motown is referenced a lot. It kind of has a Dreamgirls-esque feel to it, which I feel like the first Sparkle didn't have a Dreamgirls-esque feel. I feel like the original Sparkle was kind of grittier. It was more New York. The clothes were more 1950s versus what they were wearing. They looked very like a Supremes-esque girl group. The story starts out in a smoky nightclub with Carmen Ejogo. Carmen Ejogo. She plays Sister, who is, of course, the main lead singer of the group and the tragic heroine to the Sparkle story. And they're in the nightclub, and she's wearing like a scantily clad dress, and she runs up on stage and she begins singing a song written for her by R. Kelly, who was the musical arranger of the film's music. He did the score, mixing Curtis Mayfield's classics with some new songs that he had wrote. And from the get-go, you get the feel that, that they're trying to prove a point here, like that they're trying to paint a picture of Sister. Like, she's aggressive, she's sexy, and she has no fear, which is traits of the character. Another big contrast from the original Sparkle, where the mother, played by Mary Alice, the late, great Mary Alice, who was a wonderful actress, she was a maid in the first film, and she lived with her 3 daughters in a cramped apartment in Harlem, just making ends meet. But in this new version, Whitney and her girls are living in this plush suburban home in Detroit. And, it's very, they seem pretty upper middle class. They don't seem poor or like they're struggling to make money. They seem basically like they're doing pretty well for themselves. Whitney is the manager of a department store, and, she's making a good living. And also, she's a singer who had a past of trying to make it in the business, and you know, she had a really bad experience, so she warns her girls against any kind of music outside of church or any way, you know, form, you know, possible. Like, she doesn't want them to go through the pitfalls that she did. So it's a cautionary tale, as she puts it. And she comes off very overbearing. The first mother in the movie, Mary Alice, she was more quiet and aloof, whereas though Whitney plays the role more in your face, very, you know, typical black mother, rolling her neck, and you know, all these snappy one-liners, which is great because that's Whitney's personality. But she approached the role differently. She's also more glamorous as far as her hair, the coat. You know, she's very dressed. Whereas though the first mother, Mary Alice, was plain Jane, maid uniform. So they definitely tried to up them as far as their social standing and economic status, which I feel like kind of was a bad thing, because the girls, you know, are trying to struggle to get out of poverty. They're trying to get out of a world of ghetto life. You know, a line from, you know, giving them something he can feel, versus them being upper middle class. It's like they're not really struggling. So that, I didn't really like that. I kind of feel like the poverty thing played as a gateway for them to want to get in the music industry. So that was something I didn't like. Something else that changed in storyline too was the dynamics between Satin Struthers and Sister. Mike Epps, the comedian, played Satin Struthers. At first I was kind of like, I couldn't see him playing this role as Satin, because Mike Epps, is, as we know, is a brilliant comedian. He's so fucking funny. He's comical. He's Day-Day. But they changed it, and he was funny. His character is not a gangster. He's a TV personality who makes a buffoon of himself at the cost of black people looking bad for financial gain. So he plays a coon, basically. But he has a very evil, dark streak to him. And it comes out as the movie goes on. In the beginning, you know, he's very charming. He sweeps Sister off her feet, you know, when he sees her with poor Levi, who gets dissed in the first movie, and he gets dissed in the second movie. So Levi, his character, definitely stayed true to form. But Mike Epps played him very well. He made him very three-dimensional. I felt like it kind of came off like a 2012 Ike Turner with a little bit of Mike Epps in there. Like, you know, it was really, really good. And I think Mike Epps was one of the most outstanding actors in the film, honestly. Like, I really liked his Satin role. Carmen Ajogo as Sister was a letdown for me. I didn't like her playing the sister. Lynette McKee was so legendary, and the way she played it in the original Sparkle, Sister had so much spunk and sass and attitude, and I got this hair, I got this body, I'm just this hot, bad, red bone, but I'm Sister here, what? And I felt like Carmen Ejogo was a little dry and stiff. She, you know, she's British, so I feel like, I don't know how black culture is in England. I don't know if it's the same as American black culture, black American culture. But I just feel like it was something lacking in her. It was like something, like at certain points she would give me what I wanted, and then she would just pull back in certain scenes. Like, she had the beauty, but as far as her performance, her singing style, and just her approach of Sister, to me, was off. It was just something that was lacking, and that kind of drug the picture down for me. Sitting in a movie theater for 2 hours, it was like the movie kind of sank a little bit, because that sister role had to be played a certain kind of way. She didn't suck, it was just she didn't have that sass that an African American black woman from an urban area in America would have played her. And that's just, I think her Europeanness was holding her back from bringing that to the forefront. Tika Sumpter, who plays Malik's love interest on The Game, was amazing as Dolores, the third sister. She was phenomenal. I loved her spunk, her attitude. She's beautiful. I feel like she lit the screen up, and she was definitely, for the limited role that she had, because she had screen time, but she didn't really have as much screen time as Jordan Sparks and Carmen Ejogo. But when she was allowed to shine, she shone through, and she killed it. And I was very proud of her. She represented very well. So Tika Sumpter's was an A+ performance to me when she was allowed to shine. Now on to Derek Luke, who played Styx, the role that was originally played by Michael Phillip Thomas from Miami Vice, the fine, sexy black man from back in the day with the good hair and the nice light green eyes. Okay, I'm stuttering, y'all. Forgive me. But I felt like Derek Luke is always amazing. I love Derek Luke since Antoine Fisher. I loved him in Notorious. I loved him in Biker Boys. I love Derek Luke. I think he is a fine black man and an excellent actor. He played Styx very well. Styx is Sparkle's boyfriend and, you know, producer and collaborator and just, you know, all around good guy who pushes Sparkle to believe in her talent, to believe that she can make it as a solo artist. And I feel like he played it very well, and the chemistry between him and Jordan Sparks were great. Their love scenes and their passion between each other was ominous, and I felt like it was real, and he just brought a good feeling to the screen, and I'm a big fan of Derek Luke, so I felt like he saved the movie as well with his role. Now on to Miss Jordan Sparks, Miss American Idol, winner 2007. Jordan Sparks was known for her hit song No Air with Chris Brown, and she had a song called Battlefield, and she's a beautiful girl. Jordan Sparks is from Arizona. And I wasn't mad at her being cast as Sparkle. If anyone knows their history, the original Sparkle remake was supposed to happen in 2002 with Aaliyah playing the role of Sparkle instead of Jordan Sparks. And also we had Whitney Houston executive producing it back then. But the problem was, unfortunately, baby girl Leah died and the project got put back on the shelf for a few more years. I believe in 2004 it was talk of Murder Inc. Irv Gotti was trying to produce a remake of Sparkle with Ashanti as Sparkle and trying to get Beyonce Knowles to play sister, which I felt like could have worked and would have been a hot cast at the time, but unfortunately it just didn't get around to getting made. So that project fell flat for a few more years, and now in 2011, I believe, they cast Jordan Sparks in the role of Sparkle. And when I first heard Jordan Sparks, I wasn't mad because I know she has the singing chops to back it up. Like, Jordan Sparks has a 4-octave range. We saw what she could do on Idol, so I was fine with that. It was just the singing, the acting portion, I was worried about with Jordan. I didn't know she was going to be able to deliver the acting chops. But when I saw her and I saw Irene Cara, she did so well bringing that to life. Almost too well. At some points, it was like she was almost playing it too safe, and you can tell that she studied the Irene Cara version of Sparkle. And it's like, it wasn't Jordan Sparks I was watching. I was watching almost like a parody of her playing Irene Cara. And it was still real. You know, she did an excellent job as far as the sensitivity, the innocence of Sparkle, the naiveness of Sparkle, the vulnerability of Sparkle, the charming kindness and good-heartedness of Sparkle. She brought all those elements to the screen, which is needed to play Sparkle. So she brought all of that to the screen. Now, I just would have loved to see a little bit more Jordan Sparks in there. But I was impressed with Miss Sparks, and I was impressed with her performance to the point where I actually was like, wow, I can actually see her doing this. And I was actually thinking of another American Idol alumni, Jennifer Hudson, who, you know, of course made a big splash in Dreamgirls and went on to win an Academy Award. And I was thinking to myself, American Idol really produces some really good talent. Here we have Jennifer Hudson, who did an amazing job playing Effie White and winning an Oscar. Now we have young Jordan Sparks playing Sparkle. In both times they were in a girl group. So in both films it's about girl groups with dramas. And that brings me to Dreamgirls, because there's going to be a lot of comparisons if there haven't been already. I've heard a lot of talks like, oh, this is a knockout version of Dreamgirls. It's too much like Dreamgirls. I don't like it. The director, I believe his name is Salim Akan or something, and his wife Myra, they wrote and directed this film. I feel like they relied too heavily on Dreamgirls. I feel like moving the story to Detroit, it's so many references to Motown, so many references to Diana Ross. I don't know if they were trying to do that intentionally, like because they wanted people to look at it like a new Dreamgirls. I don't know what they were going for with that at all, but it's too cliched. It was a lot of cliches. I mean, we already know the original Sparkle is about a girl group on the rise, three sisters fighting against the odds, and how budding fame tears the group apart, and you know, Sparkle goes on to